players. How you guys doing today? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and comment. Do something, let me know you're there. I'm here today to talk about the Power 9 and what they originally for vintage players are. And this really only counts for vintage and legacy players. But anyway, yeah. Long time ago, back when your grandpa played Magic, there was a card called Black Lotus, and you could tap it. You could play it for free, and then tap it and sack it, and add 3 mana to your mana pool. Time Walk, a 1 and a blue. Take an extra turn after this one. Ancestral Recall, 1 blue. Target player draws 3 cards. Mox Sapphire, free to play. Tap and add a blue. Mox Jet, Mox Ruby, Mox Pearl, Mox Emerald, all do the same thing, respective to their colors: black, red, white, green. Time Twister, 2 and a blue. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. The Library of Alexandria is an honorable mention, or the 10th most greatest of all cards ever printed for Magic the Gathering, basically, is what the Power 9 equates to. And thus they reflect that in their price also. Tap, add 1 mana to your mana pool. Tap, draw a card. Activate this ability only if you have exactly 7 cards in hand. Not a bad card, yeah. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'm here to talk today about the Power 9 for Pauper players, because we don't play with cards that cost $18 billion like Black Lotus and Time Walk, and we don't want to be limited to only playing one, and we don't have restrictions in Pauper. We just get banned. Cards are either good or they're not. You can play with 4 or you can play with none, unless they have a rule on them that say they can play with more, like Persistent Petitioners or Relentless Rats. But anyway, yeah, so let's talk about what the cards would be in Pauper. First of all, we have Lotus Petal. For the Black Lotus, that is a clear and obvious choice to be the equivalent of Black Lotus for Pauper, as this card cost a hefty $7 last I checked. That was about a year ago. To get it in paper, I don't know what that equates to online, and the prices change all the time. So as of today, I have no idea what a Lotus Petal will run you, because I don't need to worry about that, because I already have 4 copies. These were extremely rare to get in a pack. They were common during the original print of Tempest. Tempest Remastered decided to make them uncommon. Well, what a shame for you online players, but it was still originally printed as a common, and I'm sure, I don't know. I mean, it is Pauper legal, so Vintage even restricts this card. That's crazy. Yeah, powerful card, and yes, Pauper legal, and the equivalent to Black Lotus. I think enough said here. I mean, free, tap, sack, add 1 mana of any color. So that kind of covers all the, well, not really, though. You have to sack it. It doesn't stay on the board. So, yeah, it's a Black Lotus, but, Alright, anyway, moving on to the next card. Time Walk, aka Chittering Rats. I know you're thinking, what the hell, but that's black, and it costs 1 more. Well, let's talk about why this is the Time Walk for Pauper. Because if you get this out on 3rd turn, and your opponent, say, has any mana issues, like say they have a handful of cards that they want to play 2nd and 3rd turn, but maybe only have 1 mana out, you play a Chittering Rats, you've essentially gained an extra turn. Especially if you have 2 or 3 in your hand. That gets nasty when you just you can do it each turn and like just get a little bit more a headway. You know, it's not about like doing all kinds of extra stuff on that extra turn you're getting. But here's this, you know, imagine the scenario. You've got a Chilling Rats in hand, 3 land on board, maybe some like chump blocker or something, 1/1, nothing going on really. Or even better, first turn swamp. After your opponent, you are on the draw, you draw this, you've already got a swamp and a dark ritual in hand, or even better, a lotus petal and a dark ritual. Either way, you get this out. Your opponent basically doesn't get to draw next turn. So if they weren't able to do anything on their turn, then on their following turn, after playing this, they won't be able to do anything if all they did was, like, say, play a land. You know? But anyway, not a lot of times you will get an extra turn with Chilling Rats. And there are cards that have kind of negated this, especially mid to late game, like the Monarch rule, but it still is a great card, and I consider it to be one of the top 9 or 10 cards of Pauper because of this. Here we are for my vote of the Power 9 Ancestral Recall equivalent. It's not the best. It only costs 1 mana, you know, just like Ancestral Recall, and you get to look at the top 3 cards of your library, and then you can put them back in any order, or you can shuffle them and draw a card. And that's really powerful a lot of times, especially if, say, you're being flooded out with mana. If you got a hand with a couple mana and you're good for the game, like you got your mana set up, and then you look at the top 3 cards and they're all mana, that is a very, very good thing to be able to get out of the way. And that's why I vote Ponder as the Ancestral Recall. Honorable mention goes to this card, as you can play it for free by returning 2 islands to your hand, but that's not always a good thing unless you're playing with foil, the card foil. Yeah, if you're playing with the card foil, then this card is okay, but I mean, granted, free, you get to draw 2 cards for free. That's pretty decent. There's a lot of other cards that I could mention here, but I think I've said enough. Moving on. So I'm talking about Time Twister here, and for Time Twister equivalents, we have Tolarian Winds, and this card doesn't actually see any Pauper play that if not much. I mean, there's a couple of decks like Vinestorm uses this, and it's really powerful in the Vinestorm build. Discard your hand and draw that many cards, provided you have a handful of cards. That's really, really powerful. If you're playing a Storm deck, though, sometimes it's just that extra thing you need. But yeah, overall, I'd say this isn't probably one of the top 10 Pauper cards, but as far as being the equivalent of Time Twister, I'd say this is the closest we get. That being said, I would probably choose Counterspell to go in this slot, or maybe Gitaxian Probe. It's kind of a tough call. I mean, there's so many other preordained, but as far as the equivalent of Time Twister, this is the closest we get. Okay, so staying equivalent here, this would be the Mox Jet for Pauper, except it's a land, so it doesn't. You can't just play a Vault of Whispers in a swamp on your turn. So then it kind of makes it redundant. But I would also go with all the other artifact lands. If we were, I'm not going to actually show you each artifact land. They're all still legal in Pauper. Also, rewind back to Gush when I was talking about Gush. Part of the decision-making process I had with naming Ponder as the Ancestral Recall equivalent is Ancestral Recall, or sorry, Ponder isn't on the chopping block for possible banning right now. So that being said, I mean, we could be watching this in the future where Gush is banned and people are like, why is he talking about Gush? Well, right now it's not, but it might be. Anyway, my vote for the Pauper 9 version of Mox Jet will be this. I mean, 1 mana and you get 3. That's pretty good. You do that first turn, you put 3 1-drop creatures out if you're playing a black aggro deck, which is pretty cool. And you don't see that a lot in Pauper, but it is a thing. And I think this card definitely does not see enough Pauper play. It should see way more, but it's odd. It just doesn't. I guess people are just like, I don't know. There's just so many good things going on in Pauper. And actually, in the black slot, I would rather name say that this would be the Mox Jet slot for Pauper. But as far as equivalents go, yeah, you could name Dark Ritual or Vault of Whispers. Honorable mention Chainer's Edict. That one's buyback. 1 in a black. Sorcery. This one's good because ATOG. And anybody who's gone up against Affinity knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's move on. So that all being said, previous about Mox Jet, Mox Pearl would be obviously, I can't remember the name of the artifact land. This is my vote for the white card. Honorable mention Prismatic Strands, but Palace Sentinels, and actually we could be seeing these banned as well. These are also on the chopping block. But this is the Mox Pearl for white. I mean, there's not a lot going on for white right now, and I really would hate to see this card banned because, I mean, Boros loves this card, and I hate Boros for it. But I mean, mono white. So actually, you don't ever see this in mono white decks, even though it's a human soldier. I mean, I guess there are mono white decks that use this, but I don't know. Heroic, for instance, I don't see Palace Sentinels in many heroic builds, if any. I haven't seen actually any with this in any heroic builds. All that being said, if this card gets banned, my vote for the Mox Pearl of the set would have to be... this card. Because, I mean, you don't have to actually be running any white mana to play it. It's a powerful card. Actually, all the 2-life... I can't remember what that set was called now. Any of the ones with that symbol are powerful. And actually could arguably be the power 9 for Pauper, in place of the Moxes. The Moxens could be replaced with all the pay the color or pay 2 life. I don't remember what to call it. Anyway, Apostle's Blessing, great card, and just instant protection for 2 life and 1 mana of any color. It could just be whatever. So there, but yeah, for now, as long as Palace Sentinels are still there, in Prismatic Strands, I'd say Palace Sentinels with Prismatic Strands right there next to it, and as long as those don't get banned, then, well, if they do, then this is the power 9 for white. And I kind of think that should just be the power 9 for white, really, because it's a really good card, and you don't have to use white to play it. And here's the Mox Ruby of the format, other than that artifact land that I can't remember the name of either. Jeez, I'm really bad today. I don't have my notes in front of me. I just kind of decided I'd wing this. But here's the Mox Ruby, in my opinion, other than the red artifact land, which you guys can comment below what they're actually called. All the other artifact lands are called, besides Vault of Whispers, the one I can remember. Geez, this is bad. I just don't remember any of them right now. Look up an Affinity deck list. I mean, you'll find the names of those decks. Anyway, or the names of those lands. Simian Spirit Guide. You can exile him out of your hand and you get 1 red mana free. Yeah, I mean, that's powerful stuff. However, this card doesn't see much play and is very fringe. So, with that being said, the true Power 9 red card for this slot is... none other than this card, Gutshot, because Because 2 life or 1 red mana, and you can deal 1 damage to target creature or player. And a lot of cards, there's a lot of little 1/1s running around in the format that will die to that. Do I think Gutshot really deserves that slot? No, but I was just kind of going with that whole life thing. What I actually think the Power 9 card should be for red is Lightning Bolt. And yeah, I don't feel bad saying that. However, they kind of, yeah, it's a tough slippery slope there. But Lightning Bolt is the best red card in Pauper. Just saying. This card will be the Mox Emerald. I don't care. It's the best green card in the format. It comes back to your hand. It's the best green card. And I can't think of the... Oh, yeah. Well... Anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I'm a little distracted. But when it's put in a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. Gives you creature +2 and trample. I mean, super powerful card. Really helps Bogles out and a lot of other decks. But then I can't not mention this card. This card is also extremely powerful, and yes, while it says uncommon printing in this picture, it is Pauper legal, promise. But yeah, you can either pay with 2 life or green, and target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. When you're all tapped out and you've already ramped your creature up with as much gnarly plus whatevers, and you've about made him impossibly strong, well then, hey, as many of these as you got in your hand, you can play as long as you got life to pay. Anyway, I mean, it's a strong card, and definitely worth the green slot of the Pauper 9. Although Rancor definitely deserves that honorable mention, and if we were going with equivalents, I mean, the green artifact land is sort of the equivalent, but also so is a Llanowar Elf, and we've got Llanowar Elves and Fenhorn Elves and Elvish Mystics, so it's really hard to call any of those like a top 9 green card. Okay, moving on from the Mox Emerald slot to the Mox Sapphire, which will be the blue one. What do we have for blue? Well, let's stay on this 2 life thing. Sorry, I'm actually talking while I'm typing in the card instead of pausing it this time. It's Gitaxian Probe. I fucking hate this card, alright? Like, I think this card is stupid. Like, I don't really care what my opponent has in their hand. I can kind of guess and figure out what they might have in their hand. If I'm that worried about what my opponent has in their hand, I'll wait till they're tapped out or till they're down to like 1 or 0 cards in their hand. However, it's definitely good with Kiln Fiend, and you know, well, that along with Mutagenic Growth and Gut Shot are great in the Kiln Fiend deck and should all be in there. But I mean, just personal opinions and stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty decent blue card and it's free, so I guess that makes it one of the Power 9. However, I don't have to say that it is the Power 9. I mean, I can say that this card is the Power 9. I mean, this card should be the Power 9 blue card, really. When you get down to it, it's one of the most powerful Pauper cards in blue. I mean, we could also say Delver of Secrets, but who knows, that could be banned one day. I don't know. Probably not. But, yeah. Delver of Secrets definitely deserves mention here also. And with that, that is all the 9. I guess as far as like Tolarian Academy, the honorable mention for Pauper, let's go for that. What would that be? What do you... So yeah, here's my number 10 honorable mention for Tolarian Winds. Does it do what Tolarian Winds do? Did, or will do, whatever. I don't know, depending on where you're sitting, when you're sitting. Anyway, enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Yeah, it's black, but I mean, any color can, anybody can run it. I mean, yeah, it's just, you can call out a colorless mana if you're not running black. It doesn't matter. Good card, and you can bounce it back with the bounce lands. I mean, there's so much more to talk about, but yeah, as far as like Power 9, I think I did like a Power 18. I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna hone it down to one single card. It's hard. I gave you the equivalents, and I think I did a fair job of presenting a Power 9. Some of you can go either way. It really just, depending on how you look at it, it's like the Power 9 was separated into 2 cards, and so we have a top 18 instead of a top 9. Whatever. I don't know. Take it or leave it. That's what I'm sticking to right now, and depending on bannings, I mean, could really change a lot of these cards that I've listed and mentioned. And anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys have a good day. Like, subscribe, share, comment what you think the top 9 Pauper cards are for the format. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, please. All right. Y'all have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ta-ta.